job definitely comes with some, I guess you'd call them occupational hazards. Maybe I'm the occupational hazard myself. We went up to Boyne and tested out a bunch of the new boards for the 23-24 season. Just stacked a bunch of footy and, just shooting videos, which, a lot of them will be coming out a little bit later on this summer and definitely into the fall. Definitely got a beat down. So yeah, day one, third run of the day. Literally took 2 runs on the LibTech LibRig board. And then the next run was my run 1 of the GNU Rider's Choice. And definitely took a little header on that one. It was my first run through the park. That was probably the biggest mistake too, is I was actually kind of feeling it, just kind of cruising. Aired the first jump, and then there was kind of a setup where there was, I can't remember if it was a rail or a smaller like kind of tube that went up to a big tank, and it just kind of 50-50 the tank. And then after that, just kind of checking things out. There was a flat bar. I remember I kind of bypassed that because I didn't know it was after it, because again, it was my first run through the park and I couldn't see. So I think I did a little 180 kind of on the side, like a little hip. And then the next one after that, again, multiple features on the little tabletop, and didn't want to hit the features, just wanted to kind of check them out. But of course I thought, oh, hey, look, the side of this is like a little bit of a hip. So I just went to do a little switch 180 over the hip and got a little too lazy and caught my front edge and smashed my face into the ground. Best part is I obviously got everything on film because I was filming with my 360 camera, the Insta360, and you can actually see the exact moment of impact where my face goes right into the snow. Definitely kind of caught me off guard. It didn't really ring my bell too much, just kind of felt like I got punched in the face, which I don't know, I've never been punched in the face, but I imagine that's what it feels like. But then after that, I didn't really realize exactly what had happened until a few runs later. We get down to the bottom and I was switching up boards and I pulled my goggles off my face. And one of the reps was like, you're bleeding? What? And sure enough, had a little cut across my nose from my goggles. Obviously went face first into the snow. Nothing that major. I'm glad I didn't come out of there with any bruises or anything. Kind of made me a little more cautious for the rest of the day. Okay, then day 2, there's a few runs in, second run through the park, and this was just filming, getting clips, so Trevor was filming me, I wasn't filming myself. I remember just having a kind of a fun little run, did a couple little butters on the little side hill on the little path to the park, and then I think at 50-50, 180 out on the first flat bar, and then there was a down rail, and I just about worked up enough courage to do a little switched lip on it, but then as I rolled up to it, realized that that rail was a little longer than I remember from the run before, and I remember I kind of chickened out on that. And then as we cruised down, they had the first little tabletop, and just did a little tail grab over that, 50-50 on the big tank, and then next flat bar, another stock 50-50 front 180 out. And then we were kind of cruising through this little baby park area that had all these rollers with little tiny flats on the top. They were kind of like little tabletops, so it was really fun, just kind of doing little butters on them. And then went to do a switch 360 and definitely got a little wonky in the air. And then a few more butters down, I was spinning around. I remember that one was kind of funny because as I was spinning around on my nose, I was kind of listing to the left and Trevor was filming me there, and I was kind of shoving him and forcing him into the trees a little bit. And then after that, there was this little area kind of heading towards the tents where it was groomed, it was flat, nobody had really been through there just because they hadn't really started the lessons. It was usually where they do the little kid lessons. I was like, oh, this is a good place to do a little butter. And of course, jumped on the back, got lazy, caught my back edge, straight to my back, kind of that right above your crack. But it's kind of your back, it's kind of your butt, right in that middle area, and it just jolted me, and I didn't realize how hard that ground actually was. And yeah, it literally kind of, one of those things where it kind of sends it all the way through your body, and I was definitely feeling that the rest of the day. Riding it was okay, but every time you get to sit down on the lift, you're like, oh, you definitely feel a little sore, and you can definitely kind of feel it throughout the rest of the day. The rest of the day was actually feeling pretty good, obviously just feeling that jolt. And of course, I'm pretty much done. I'm tired. It's literally the second day. I've been just riding constantly. And then I'm gonna put half of the blame on Wickner. He was like, let's take another run. And I was like, no, I'm done for the day. And then I'll take the other half of the blame because you never call last run. And of course I said, okay, I'll take one more run. He was like, come on, you can film us. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll take one more run. I'll film you. Set me up a board. Set me up on a Sleepwalker, which is a super, super fun board. But yeah, calling that last run, it definitely got me. We start cruising and I'm thinking I'm just gonna film them. I found out later he was just joking about that, about filming them. So I got them, got some clips. Wickner definitely got a super sick clip on that first rail, and that dude's older than me. So let me tell you, he's my inspiration for still going out and riding park as I'm getting older. So we're cruising down the hill, and just on a whim, I had the idea to jump the first little jump, and I was like, what if I passed the camera between my legs? And it worked. Super fun. Obviously nothing epic, but kind of a fun little shot. And then came over the tube and did a little nose bonk with a little shuffle kind of at the end, just kind of impromptu. And then I'm thinking, oh, all day long I've been trying to gap over that flat on that weird box rail kind of flat down setup, and I was trying to gap to 5.0, and I thought, oh, I'll do one more, and that was a big mistake, because as I went over and I landed, I pretty much landed on my edge, and we all know that metal edges do not carve on metal boxes and rails, and I slipped out, and the first thing to hit the ground was my chest and my thigh, and I bruised my ribs, definitely knocked the wind out of me. And then the worst part is I have this little cover that goes over the 360 camera to cover both lenses, and that was in my pocket right on my thigh, and it was sideways. So it's very soft. It kind of goes around the camera. It's very soft this way, but it was sitting in my pocket like this, so it's very sturdy. And I got a huge bruise on my thigh too, but that went away. But we're a couple weeks after that demo, and actually, you know, if you've ever bruised your ribs, I can still feel a little bit of that bruise on my ribs. All right, and then day 3, we're almost done. It was kind of a shorter day. The demo was only going for a little bit longer. Just wanted to go out, take a few more runs, ride some K2 boards, had a blast. And then I figured, I was riding a Passport, I remember, and Trevor was on an excavator, and I was like, hey, I'll take the camera and I'm gonna film you. And Trevor wanted to go in and out of the lifts, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna go opposite of you and we'll crisscross, and I'll just kind of come behind you, and as I'm cruising over him, I filmed over the top of him. I took the stick and kind of put it over the top, and we're getting these shots going in and out of the lifts, and I'm thinking to myself, this is gonna look super cool. And I was actually very pleased with how that came out. But of course, as we came out the last lift, I'm done. He still has to come back. I'm right foot forward, he's left foot forward, so we're back to each other. In my brain, I'm just cruising down the hill, and all I'm thinking is, oh my God, these shots are gonna look super cool. Completely spaced out and forgot he's coming back, and he can't really see me. And at the last second, I see him coming at me, and I go to kind of stop and turn, and we catch heel edges. Luckily for him, he was toe side. He was able to just carve out of it, but me caught my back edge and went straight to the back, hit my head on the ground. And the best part about that one is I came out unscathed. For just a split second, I thought I had killed Trevor. Trevor thought he had killed me, but you can see in the slow-mo, and we'll pause it, I hit, in the moment of impact, the lens on my goggles fell out. And these are the new Anon M5 goggles, which have super strong magnets, and you have got to fall crazy hard. And I did, I went down, but I whipped back, hit my head, and again, that lens popped out. So the lens is about right here, and you can see daylight through the frames. So the frame actually came off of my face a little bit too. Super thankful that that fall wasn't any harder than it actually was. Luckily, the snow was just soft enough that it didn't do any damage. I had my helmet on, which was super important, but that was kind of, I think, our third to last run. We only took a few more runs after that. Yeah, I definitely got a beat down at Boyne those 3 days. It comes with the job when you're testing boards out and you're riding new stuff. It's gonna happen, but thankfully about 2 weeks later, I was out riding, testing out some Burton boards. I'm definitely feeling it pretty good for how old I'm getting. Definitely feeling my age a little bit, but definitely love testing out this stuff and can't wait to test some more stuff in the future.